Quick Book Insights. The Stranger by Albert Camus. Introduction. Welcome to Quick Book Insights, the channel where we dive deep into transformative books and uncover the profound ideas that shape literature and philosophy. Today, we're exploring Albert Camus' masterpiece, The Stranger, l'étranger, a novel that challenges readers to confront the absurdity of life and question societal norms. Published in 1942, The Stranger is one of the most celebrated works of existential literature and serves as a powerful introduction to Camus' philosophy of the absurd. Set against the backdrop of French Algeria, this story of detachment and moral ambiguity examines themes of alienation, the indifference of the universe, and the search for meaning in a world that seems devoid of it. Through the life of its enigmatic protagonist, Meursault, The Stranger invites us to confront uncomfortable truths about the human condition and our place in the cosmos. Before we dive into this profound journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Quick Book Insights, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our in-depth explorations of iconic books. Now, let's unravel the compelling narrative and philosophical depth of The Stranger. Chapter 1. An Indifferent Beginning. Albert Camus opens the novel with one of the most famous lines in literary history. "Mother died today, or maybe yesterday, I can't be sure." This stark statement introduces us to Meursault, the narrator, whose emotional detachment from his mother's death sets the tone for the entire novel. Living in Algiers, Meursault is a young clerk who seems indifferent to the world around him. He attends his mother's funeral, not out of grief but obligation, observing the rituals with a detached curiosity rather than sorrow. At the vigil, Meursault is more aware of the heat and discomfort than the significance of the moment. The other attendees express grief and condolence, but Meursault remains unmoved, even annoyed by the conventions of mourning. The following day, he returns to his mundane routine, swimming with Marie, a woman he begins to casually date. This juxtaposition of death and leisure highlights his indifference and detachment. Camus deliberately contrasts the societal expectation of grief with Meursault's apparent apathy. The weather, described with oppressive intensity, mirrors the stifling weight of these expectations. Meursault's focus on the physical, his discomfort under the sun, the sensation of swimming with Marie, underscores his disconnection from emotional conventions. Analysis. The first chapter sets the stage for the novel's central themes: the absurdity of life and society's expectations of emotional conformity. Meursault's refusal to perform grief unnerves those around him, foreshadowing his ultimate alienation from society. Camus uses this chapter to challenge readers to question the authenticity of societal norms and rituals. Is grief genuine if it is performed under social pressure? Key takeaway: life's absurdity is laid bare in Meursault's indifference. His lack of emotion is not a rejection of humanity, but an honest acknowledgement of life's randomness. Chapter 2. A Life of Routine. In the days following the funeral, Meursault resumes his ordinary life. He enjoys swimming with Marie, eating and observing the world around him. His relationship with Marie is defined by physical attraction rather than emotional connection. When she asks if he loves her, Meursault responds with disinterest, stating that love is irrelevant to him, but agreeing to marry her if she desires. Meursault also interacts with his neighbors, including Raymond, a man with a reputation for violence. Raymond seeks Meursault's help in writing a letter to his mistress, intending to manipulate her emotionally. Meursault complies, not out of malice or agreement, but because he sees no reason not to. This passivity defines Meursault's relationships and actions, reflecting his indifference to moral judgment. This chapter delves deeper into the ordinariness of Meursault's life, highlighting his disconnection from societal values. While Marie expresses conventional emotions like love and curiosity, Meursault's responses remain pragmatic and devoid of sentiment. His interactions with Raymond reveal a willingness to assist without judgment, emphasizing his detachment from moral constructs. Analysis. Camus uses Meursault's relationships to illustrate his detachment from societal expectations. Love, loyalty, and morality are meaningless constructs to Meursault, who views life through a lens of pragmatic indifference. His interactions with Raymond foreshadow the events that will lead to his undoing. By helping Raymond, Meursault inadvertently becomes entangled in conflicts that escalate beyond his control. Key takeaway. Meursault's passive approach to life highlights his rejection of imposed values and his embrace of the absurd. Chapter 3. The triggering incident. As Meursault becomes more entangled in Raymond's affairs, the narrative takes a darker turn. Raymond's mistress confronts him, leading to a public altercation. Meursault remains a passive observer, neither intervening nor passing judgment. Later, Meursault, Marie, and Raymond visit a beach, where they encounter the mistress's brother and his friends, who are of Arab descent. A confrontation ensues, culminating in a tense standoff. Meursault, now armed with Raymond's gun, walks along the beach under the oppressive heat of the sun. Overwhelmed by the sun's glare and the tension of the moment, Meursault shoots one of the men, killing him instantly. This seemingly impulsive act becomes the catalyst for the rest of the novel. Camus describes the moment of the murder with meticulous attention to sensory detail. The heat, light, and sound overwhelm Meursault, creating a surreal and almost dreamlike atmosphere. The murder is not premeditated, but an instinctive response to the oppressive environment. This detachment from intent further isolates Meursault as society struggles to comprehend his lack of motive. Analysis. The murder marks a turning point in Meursault's life, transforming him from a passive observer to an active participant in his own fate. The heat and light are described with almost oppressive intensity, symbolizing the external forces that drive Meursault to act. Yet, his decision to kill is devoid of emotion or moral reasoning, reflecting his embrace of life's absurdity. Key takeaway. Meursault's act of violence underscores the randomness of existence and the futility of seeking rational explanations for human behavior. Chapter 4. The trial. Meursault's trial becomes a spectacle, less about the murder and more about his character. The prosecutor paints him as a monster, using his indifference at his mother's funeral as evidence of his moral depravity. The defense struggles to counter this narrative, focusing instead on the lack of premeditation in the crime. The courtroom scenes are surreal, with the absurdity of the justice system laid bare. Meursault's lack of remorse and refusal to conform to societal expectations make him an enigma to the jury. The trial becomes a condemnation not of the crime, but of Meursault's refusal to adhere to societal norms. Camus critiques the justice system's obsession with morality over facts. The focus shifts from the murder to Meursault's character, as society demands conformity and remorse. Meursault's honesty and indifference become his greatest crimes in the eyes of the jury. Analysis. Camus uses the trial to critique the arbitrariness of morality and justice. Meursault's fate is sealed not by his actions but by his refusal to feign emotion or conform to societal expectations. The trial becomes a metaphor for humanity's struggle to impose meaning on an indifferent universe. Key takeaway. Society punishes Meursault not for his crime, but for his honesty and rejection of its moral constructs. Chapter 5. The embrace of the absurd. Sentenced to death, Meursault spends his final days in a prison cell, reflecting on life, death, and the universe. Initially consumed by fear, he gradually comes to terms with his mortality. Meursault realizes that life has no inherent meaning and that this realization is liberating. By accepting the absurd, he finds peace. In the novel's final lines, Meursault embraces the indifference of the universe, stating that he feels happy. This acceptance of life's absurdity and rejection of false hope encapsulate Camus' philosophy. Analysis. the conclusion of The Stranger is both haunting and uplifting. Meursault's journey from detachment to enlightenment mirrors Camus' belief that the only way to confront the absurd is to embrace it. Life's lack of meaning is not a source of despair, but a call to live authentically and fully. Key takeaway: Meursault's acceptance of the absurd is a triumph of the human spirit, a declaration of freedom in the face of an indifferent universe. Conclusion: the legacy of The Stranger. The Stranger is more than a novel. It is a philosophical manifesto that challenges readers to confront the absurdity of life and embrace their freedom. Albert Camus' exploration of alienation, morality, and the human condition resonates as powerfully today as it did when the book was first published. Through Meursault's journey, Camus invites us to question the meaning we impose on our lives and to find liberation in accepting life as it is. The Stranger remains a timeless work that continues to inspire, provoke, and challenge readers around the world. If you found this summary insightful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to QuickBook Insights, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Albert Camus' masterpiece. Ultra music fades in.